Alchemical Records Newsletter, March 17th, 2023. Happy St. Patrick's Day. You would have to have been in Chicago last week to kick off the official start of the holiday, but around the rest of the country we're catching up. I've officially drunk my green beer, am wearing my lucky YellowTieGuy t-shirt, and as an individual with mostly Scottish, Irish, and English heritage, the music of the region holds a special place in my heart. Unless your name is Danny or Daniel, then there is a slim chance you have heard "Oh Danny boy, the pipes are calling" as many times as I have in my lifetime. I often learn about the artist, history, and context of the music I perform. Although retention isn't always one of my strong suits, the exploration of the details is exciting, and I take notes and make browser bookmarks to help me find my way again when I return to the subject. These musical expeditions have often found me poring over ancient manuscripts related to music genres. Celtic music contains the music of more than just Scotland and Ireland, though that certainly is a popular notion in the US. It also represents Wales, Brittany, Cornwall, Spain, Portugal, and the Isle of Man. It represents multiple languages, and in the States provides the foundation of common concepts around folk, country, and bluegrass. I'm all for Celtic music, and I think that the argument for country and bluegrass music has been made. The characteristics of those genres have been, to a certain degree, clearly defined. Folk music, however, is perhaps still up for discussion. It does contribute to what might be considered world music, but what is world music? Is Canadian bacon just bacon in Canada? How about Swiss cheese in Switzerland? More simply, how did we ever arrive at the hamburger, considering how little pork we expect those particular sandwiches, notably and thankfully void of sand, to contain? If even meat and cheese are subject to such labels, then are we going to need to keep an open mind about our categorization of music? Absolutely. It's worth paying attention to this moment in history and the continuing conversation about history's slanted view. For all the popularity that folk music has today, it's hard to imagine that it was, in its day, the antithesis of pop. 19th century British writer William John Thomas suggests that the term folk represents the traditions, customs, and superstitions of the uncultured classes. Traditions? Sure. Customs? Check. Superstitions? Accepted. Uncultured? How rude. As pop itself becomes more and more a genre to itself, rather than the recognition that this is a particular piece of music that is popular, I'd suggest that folk music is actually speculative, and I honestly wonder whether we still require it as a genre. The genre has often become grouped with singer-songwriters, who also seem to fall into the acoustic music genre. With the introduction of Americana into the mix, I'm really starting to question why society has worked so hard to create so many of these distinctions when their foundations are so closely tied together. If anything, folk music could be redefined as any music produced prior to a certain date, let's say 1877, by anyone, anywhere in the world. After all, even classical music has its relationships to folk and folklore. Folk music is the music of the people, passed orally or in loose notes because only the educated and wealthy had access to notation and eventually recordings. World music has come to be grossly underdefined as music that is mostly influenced from areas other than my place of origin. As individuals, we are understandably very passionate about our music. In many ways, especially with mainstream media, we've also partially tied our identities to our understandings of these genres, and those understandings can be tied to historical biases. With all the other ongoing conversations about creating a more inclusive future for all, it seems worthwhile to at least have a conversation about reorganizing and redefining music genres to better represent the existing musical landscape, as well as the musical landscape we'd like to leave behind for future generations. What do you think? Regardless of my individual opinion on the topic of genre, we'll continue uncovering excellent music however it is defined. Thanks to your support of Alchemical Records and the incredible artists we have the pleasure of sharing with you. Daniel.